as you all can see, we're moving up in the world. I have to thank my crazy Canadian friend Sean from Third Railify, and that is the very first time that we have used the intro for our show. And God willing, I'm going to have Sean make some, more specific intros than that for specialized live streams. But I've been ever since Sean told me he was working on this little project. We've been bouncing things back and forth. That's the finished product. And in case you're wondering, we have an outro that we're going to use tonight, and I think you guys will like it as well. So let me just give a plug right now for Sean from Third Railify. He does video work like this. So if you are ever in need of, checking out what he's doing, then by all means, please do so. I mean, bless his heart, that boy's married and he's got 4 kids. Now the wife's working. I'm not trying to make him sound like poor pitiful me, but any extra coin that boy can bring in for himself, bless his heart, he could probably use it. So, and with that, welcome to the Thursday night newsroom. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. You are joined by this wonderful lady right over here, Miss Tracy Barkley from GenX Marks the Spot. And we are glad you guys are here tonight. Over on Rumble, WWG1 is in the house, and boy, he's been meme bombing me. Woo! We got a ton of memes between him and other people. TBA is over there, says, hope you and your mom had a wonderful birthday date. Yes, Ma Trippett turned 88 years old yesterday. So, yeah, I know. We're having a party for her on Saturday at her place. I have been requested to make some soup and cornbread.
What kind of soup? Vegetable soup?
Beef vegetable soup, yes. And for some reason, my family likes my cooking, and they've managed to survive everything I've ever prepared for them, which is always a plus. So, no, there's no deviled eggs, TBA, no deviled eggs. But, yeah, we're going to have a party at Mom's place, and so we're moving. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, Front Porch Brunch is being moved to Sunday morning. So just let you guys know. But, yeah, we had a wonderful birthday date, and everything is well. Tracy, I feel like I'm hogging the oxygen already. How are you doing, darling? What's up with you?
I'm doing great. How about I hope everyone else is too. It's been a good day. Just glad to be here. So it seems a little weird to be here on a Thursday, but I think it'll be a good night.
Oh yeah, and we were talking about it as we are prone to do before we go on live. I said, okay, what topics do you want to hit tonight? She's like, well, this, and this. She's like, my God, there's too much to keep up with. I was like, yeah, it's like drinking water out of a fire hydrant.
If we if we did 2 to 3 minutes on everything that's broke today, we'd still be here for a couple hours.
Oh my God, Sean, I see you over there. I see you over there in the Rumble chat. And brother, we just tried your intro for the first time. Everybody loved it. And like I said, Sean is here from Third Railify. If you have video needs, intros, outros, in-laws, outlaws, whatever you might need, talk to Sean. That dude has absolutely hooked me up, and I am very grateful. Yes, we tried the intro for the first time tonight. It seems to be a hit, and I will be coming back to you for some more specialized stuff, my friend. So yes, by all means, help that brother out over there. Anyway, yeah, we got a ton of topics to get into tonight, but we will start, as is our wont, with the merry memes. And WWG1, do me a favor. If there are some of them that I skip over tonight, okay, and I'm only doing it for the sake of time, but the ones that I don't use that you did send me, save them for Sunday morning. We'll come back to them. But, I mean, they're all funny as all get out. So, oh, by the way, folks, we have a new sponsor for our live stream. Yeah, Tracy, things are going good for us here. We have a sponsor now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have legal needs out there, please consider going to the law firm of Hound, Wolf, and Chase. These guys are they will get down to the bone on every case that they've got. They will absolutely dig in like they're chasing fleas. That's how serious they are about going after, one of the One of the attorneys is named Fido Bona Esquire. He is the paw firm loaner. I mean, and they've got some interesting case. Did your human break a treat in half and try to pass off as a whole treat? You may be entitled to compensations. Their attorneys have 7 times the experience chasing down treats that are owed. Pause today to schedule a consultation. So yes, please consider using the services of Hound, Wolf, and Chase. So yes, we have. Tracy's like, dear God, we're going to the dogs on this live stream in more ways than one. Anyway, thank you, WWG1, for that good one. That's good. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it is crazy out there, y'all. I mean, we got stories about executive orders. We've got stories about all kinds of stuff. And Trump, with these executive orders, he has absolutely gone plumb crazy. Matter of fact, he just signed one today that a lot of people are genuinely celebrating, especially in certain parts of the internet. So with that, we'll take a listen in on Trump's latest executive order. As always, give me a sound check. Let me know if we're okay, and check this out.
Today, I am signing an executive order making it legal to call your friends fags and retards if they are doing something faggy or retarded. Fags and retards, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to start calling our friends this again. And we will. We're going to call them fags and retards again.
So, yeah, I mean, apparently free speech is back. What can I tell you?
I never stopped. That's one of my problems.
Oh, my God. Oh, mercy. Oh, by the way, Tracy, did you hear the story about the British renaming one of their latest warships?
No, I didn't.
No, interesting story. Oh, so apparently you've been breaking the law before Trump handed down that newest executive order. Well, Courtney, we see how you are, my dear. Oh, gosh. Terrible, you naughty woman, you. But I hear that's how y'all out there on the West Coast. Y'all just crazy like that. So, yeah, the British just recently christened a brand new warship. But before they did, they changed the name to something a little more politically correct. They were going to name it the HMS Agincourt, His Majesty's ship Agincourt, named after a very famous battle that the British won against the French. Well, apparently they decided to go with something else lest they offend the French. Well, somebody out on Twitter came up with a very salient observation and said the following. Imagine standing on the battlefield at Agincourt, mouth dry, stomach falling through your arse as you pull back on your longbow string. The enemy are legion, mounted on a horseback, armored medieval tanks, looming toward your thin line of men. But you fight with English fury, and despite the overwhelming odds, you are victorious. The day is won, and history now knows of you. Then, 600 years later, some limp-dicked, soy-drinking vegan Ponzi gets worried that just the name of the place where you made your stand might upset the effing French. Shame on you, Britain. Shame on you. Well, you know what? I can't disagree with any of that. I really can't.
How dare you, break down one of the greatest English war victories in history and, good God. I mean,
I know.
The French are aware that Agincourt happened. They are aware. I mean, but the French surrender at the drop of a hat, so I don't think they're going to be highly offended about anything. I can't name I can't name It's better than naming it Waterloo.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they could have done that. I mean, look, you British people that are upset about, the possibility of offending the French, hey, there are worse names that she's right. There are worse things you could have done. You could have called it the HMS Waterloo.
The Robespierre.
Yeah, really. The
guillotine.
The Voltaire, yeah, or the
Voltaire,
guillotine,
you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's another one: HMS Shopkeeper. There you go. Adam, as always, you are spot on, my friend. And going back to Trump's executive order, apparently slurs are her love language. Oh, yeah, who knew? You know. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah, the HMS Desaad. Just saying. You know, the next time you British get the idea, what do y'all name your warship? Why don't you just consult us Americans? You know,
The HMS Macron is a faggot. And not because he's gay, just because he does things that are faggy.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Oh, my goodness. Well, speaking of executive orders and other things that make you go, TBA says, well, can we call it the HMS retard? Well, maybe, I don't know. My gosh. As you are aware that the president has signed an order banning the use of federal dollars toward sex reassignment and gender transitioning for children under the age of 19. Well, sometimes you come up with a meme and it just says it all without having to really say anything. I'm just going to put this one up here and I'll just read it, but I'll let it speak for itself. Remember when some girls were just tomboys and no one thought about giving them puberty blockers? I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. So there you go.
That was my wife texting me from the other room saying, "Stop saying faggot."
Yeah, YouTube got a little YouTube a little touchy about that subject. So
I'm
maybe
sorry, YouTube.
No. I'm the one that played the clips. I mean, it's on me. So there you go. You know, Tracy, some people have been talking about the fact that there's still kind of a I don't know, lingering dislike between members of the former Biden administration and the now current Trump administration.
You think?
Well, yeah. However, I think that's largely overblown. I really do, because apparently Donald Trump and Jen Psaki, of all people, are carrying on some correspondence. Yeah, believe it or not. Matter of fact, and there's a recent capture of one of their exchanges. Jen uses her very famous phrase that we will circle back. Trump says, "Hey." She's like, "That is not what I meant." I don't know how these conversations are going, but apparently they are happening, ladies and gentlemen.
He likes Wendy's.
Yeah.
She has a certain Wendy's appeal.
Yeah, I've heard it said that one of his favorite comic strips is Peanuts. I mean, maybe he's got a thing for the character of Peppermint Patty or something. I don't know.
She reminds me more of Little Debbie, but
yeah, well, that's true. Oh my word! I disavow. I disavow. Oh my God! I cannot believe this language is being used in my live stream. Oh my Lord! It's just terrible.
You never go ass to mouth. You never go ass to mouth.
Oh my God! Just okay. Moving right along, Les Joe. Anyway,
you opened a Pandora's box with that clip. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, much has been made of the hearings of Robert Kennedy Jr. before the Senate Finance, the Senate Health Committees, and, even before the hearings, there's been all kinds of discussions about things that we ought to be doing to try to improve our overall health, be it in what we eat or what we drink, or should we have this dye in this form of food? Should we have, whatever? And now people are really getting concerned about the basics like eyesight, sense of smell, and even hearing. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of concern about not just what you hear, but at what decibel level or pitch you hear it. I mean, for example, look what happened to Donald Trump when these four women started talking. It's like, geez. It's like the poor man's bleeding out of his ears, for heaven's sake. This is awful. And to me, this is a good example of what we need to be doing to try to address the ear bleeding epidemic that we have in America. You know, I just wish these four women could become better educated about this sort of thing. And maybe, just maybe, we can start saving the lives and the hearing and of men across America. You know, I'm just saying.
Poor
You know.
Nickelback.
Oh, no. Now, don't be busting on Nickelback. For
They have
heaven's
some good
sake,
stuff.
Adam. Yeah, I mean, you know. Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of the hearings, and then that's going to lead us into our first subject. There was an exchange today between newly elected Senator Adam Schiff, Democrat of California, and Kash Patel. And I mean, we got all kinds of clips to be playing for you guys tonight because, my God, 3 monumental hearings. The news about the helicopter airplane crash at Reagan National Airport. I mean, there's 1,000,001 topics that we could be talking about tonight. So, but for this one, I've got to share with you because I really thought that this exchange between Schiff and Kash Patel in the Judiciary Committee I'm sorry, I got distracted by a note from Sean. Anyway, I saw that. This exchange between Schiff and Kash Patel in the Judiciary Committee was a particularly good example of highbrow communication and question and answering between a senator and a witness before the committee. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the quality of this conversation as much as we do here on the electronic front porch.
Mr. Patel, did you or did you not say that my head looks like a watermelon?
I may have done that.
Why won't you just admit what you said, Mr. Patel? You said, and I quote, Adam Schiff's head looks just like a friggin' watermelon.
Do you think your head looks like a watermelon?
Okay, that's not, actually, he's not answering my question.
I'm just asking you if you think your head looks like a watermelon.
You think you're the first person to call me watermelon head. I've been dealing with this since kindergarten, Mr. Patel.
Sorry to hear that, Mr. Pencil Neck.
And also, wait, what did you just call me?
I didn't call you anything.
That's him controlling a computer.
Chip.
Mother.
And yes, he kicked my butt. Going ahead.
Mr. Patel, did you?
What the heck? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, but I think that's a really good example of the quality of exchange between, members of the Congress, particularly the Senate, and someone who comes before a committee. I think that's a great example. I think it ought to be used in schools. I mean, Tracy, your thoughts?
Being able to identify the different fruits and associate them with different people, I think it's an important skill.
There you go.
I mean, there's a lot of melon heads out there that we need to be able to identify at a glance. So I think that's a good thing.
Exactly. You know what? And there are just some people that, you can teach them the word, you can teach them the definition, and you can even show them a picture of the fruit, and they still don't get it. But sometimes if you associate a person with the fruit, people seem to pick it up better. So maybe there's something to this. All right. Thank you, WWG1 and others, for your contributions to our chuckles for the night. And I saved one for Sunday, brother. And I think you know which one it is. It's the Family Guy. The Family Guy one. So WWG1, you hold on to that one for Sunday along with whatever else you got. All right, Tracy, as you are the guest on the live stream, what have you got for the first topic of the night?
Well, the very first topic is that article that I sent you from, is it Roy? I've always said Reuters. I think that's wrong. It's Reuters.
Reuters.
Seeing that, go ahead and bring that up.
Yes, ma'am.
Fairly new. So Pentagon probe crashed. Basically, Pentagon is basically saying that they're still trying to say that the helicopter crew involved in today's helicopter plane crash was experienced. But if you scroll down to about bottom of that article, you'll see where it very plainly says there were 3 members in the helicopter. It was a training mission. The trainee had 500 flight hours. The trainer had 1,000. And then the third member was a non-flight member of the crew.
Oh,
Now, I don't know what that means. It just, to me, sounds like the trainer only having double the amount of flight experience as the trainee is a wee bit suspect.
Well, and I've got some questions, and we were talking about this backstage. I mean, what in the world is a pilot? And now we find out the pilot's only got like 500 hours of flight time in a Black Hawk helicopter, which I mean, well, let me rephrase that. I'm assuming it's only 500 in a Black Hawk helicopter. Are we talking total flight time, regardless of
flight? It said flight
Okay.
time. Now, they could have been flying other types of helicopters. They could have been flying airplanes. I don't know. Cargo planes for the Army. I don't know, but it said 500 flight hours, and that the trainer only had 1,000.
All right. Well, let's be generous and assume 500 flight hours in a Black Hawk helicopter. What in the world are they doing letting a pilot with only 500 flight hours of time in a Black Hawk over one of the busiest airports in America?
I have no idea. I mean, they said it was a training mission, and that's fine. You have to be able to fly to get flight hours and have experience. But why would you not do that over the military base, around an open field, someplace that is not with commercial flights with innocent civilians coming in and out of there constantly?
Yeah. I mean, it just to me, this whole thing, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a fairly suspicious turn of mind, and I think, without calling you a suspicious person either, Tracy, I think you're as skeptical as I am at a minimum. This whole thing just stinks on so many levels. Okay.
And I understand what Colin is saying, that there's Black Hawks at the Reagan Airport all the time, and they were probably training them where they would be flying it. I get that. But even if we said all of that was okay, I don't know the requirements, but it just seems that having a trainer with 1,000 hours is really, really low. I mean, somebody else that only has 500.
Yeah, and I just got sent something from WWG1, and I will put this up here, just for the sake of discussion. I'm not saying yay or nay on this, but just to throw it in here. This comes directly from Lockheed Martin, which is the manufacturer of the Black Hawk helicopter. Let me pop this up here. Command an autonomous Black Hawk helicopter from 300 miles away. How do you command a Black Hawk helicopter to perform a mission autonomously from 300 miles away? Simple, by using a tablet connected to the aircraft via data link. During the Association of the United States Army's annual meeting in D.C., visitors and U.S. Army senior leaders saw how a Black Hawk helicopter integrated with Sikorsky's Matrix autonomy system can receive remote mission commands in real time, then carry out the mission on its own using its onboard autonomous systems without remote control or pilot inputs.
Yeah.
Now, that just adds, and again, I will full disclosure, I was watching, listening to Alex Jones today, and this is a subject he brought up. He's like, it's been widely known for a while that you can remote control. You can remote control some of these vehicles, particularly helicopter.
It's possible. It's possible. And to what Kiwanis again saying that training is a major issue with civilian, absolutely. As soon as I heard that it was a American Eagle flight, which is a little regional carrier that operates under American Airlines, American Airlines pretty much uses, a lot of the majors use these little airlines to basically keep their flights full. They'll do the runs from small airports to the major hubs, and then the major airline. So they use these little feeder planes to keep their major flights full.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw that, I Googled American Eagle. They've been cited, and just to see if maybe there was something with the airplane, because at that time I didn't know if the helicopter hit the airplane or the airplane hit the helicopter. And they've been cited several times for having crews consisting of junior level pilots. And those junior level pilots have around 600 to 700 flight hours. Now, based on them being considered junior pilots with a commercial airline at 600 to 700 hours of flight time, wouldn't you say that 1,000 hours not much better than junior? And why is he a trainer, or he or she a trainer?
That's a great question. I mean, there's a lot about this that does make a lot of sense. And I should say, Tracy found this before we went on the air. This is from the Associated Press, and they're doing live, up to the moment coverage. Whenever they find a piece of information, they try and share it. FAA is reporting that staffing was not normal in the air traffic control tower at the time of the crash, according to the report. Now, what they're referring to is this, and this report from AP was picked up by Fox News. Apparently, the night in question, there was one air traffic controller, I guess, covering 2 stations in the tower, whereas normally it's almost like a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 station, 1 air traffic controller. Well, this night you had, 1 air traffic controller covering 2 stations. Now, we're not even 24 hours fully into this thing yet. Okay. So everybody is digging, trying to find answers. At this point, I'm not going to lay a whole lot of blame at the feet of the control tower, the air traffic controllers, or the FAA or anybody else. Okay. As far as I can tell, and again, I'm no pilot, I'm no expert, whatever, that's fine. But as far as I can tell at this point, the air traffic controllers and the FAA bear no fault in this. I mean, they spotted this chopper heading in the path of this American Eagle flight.
I know it's TMZ, but supposedly TMZ has a audio clip of the air traffic controller telling the helicopter to stand down, to watch out.
Yeah. And so, look, there's going to be more that comes out about this. I get it. But
right
at this
now,
point,
from what I see, I think the fault is on the helicopter, from what I can tell.
Yeah. And
because the airplane was in descent to land. So they were following their flight plan to land.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then all of a sudden this helicopter's in their flight path and got T-boned, pretty much.
Yep. Yeah. Now I've got a tweet here from a gentleman named Mark McEthran. He says in this tweet that he is a Black Hawk helicopter crew chief in the United States Army. So I want to read this just to give it some context here. Not only was he a crew chief in the Army, he was also a flight instructor. That means he trained crew chiefs and ensured that they completed all training annually to maintain their flight ratings. One massive responsibility we had was to be the eyes for the pilots. We handled airspace obstacle avoidance and communicated potential risk to the pilot. Quite often, we would train as a flight of 2 or 3 birds flying in formation. It was my job to have my head out the window and tell the pilots that the aircraft behind us was staggered at 3 discs. We measured close distance in terms of the diameter of the rotor discs. I can tell you after doing this for hundreds of hours, even when you know exactly where a Black Hawk is and you have night vision goggles on, it is extremely hard to see the aircraft. These birds are designed to be hard to see at night. The red and green on the side gets lost in the lights of the city below. The only, quote, lights on top of the aircraft are called slime lights because they are very, very, very dim green, incredibly difficult to see. If you are above the helicopter, even if it had floodlights or spotlight, 2 different types of lights, on underneath it, it is still hard to see the bird because all of that illumination is below the airframe. Another thing people should know is just how busy things can get in the aircraft. Pilots are talking to each other about what they're observing on the instrument panels. That means neither are looking outside the aircraft. The crew chief might be conducting a fuel check, where we would also be looking up into the cockpit at the gauges on the clock. This can lead to moments where all 3 people on the aircraft are all looking inside the aircraft. It's not supposed to happen that way. We are supposed to announce when we are coming inside or back outside the aircraft, but that doesn't always happen. Also, in cities like D.C., radio traffic is constant and can make it hard to filter out what is important for you to listen to. Checking instruments, doing math, reading checklists, and listening to multiple radios at the same time is very hard. Mistakes happen. Anyone out there telling you that they find the aircraft collision to be suspect have never been in a flight crew and they have zero idea what they're talking about. Ignore them all. Better yet, mock the hell out of them. 999 times out of 1,000, aircraft incidents always come down to a series of pilot and crew errors. Humans are involved. They aren't perfect. Tonight, my heart and my mind is with the families of those involved in the tragic event. I won't join the chorus of idiots making speculations.
Yeah,
So
I have to
there you
agree with
go.
him. I don't think it's conspiracy. I don't think it's somebody dialed
No.
in from a pilot. From a tablet. I think there was errors going on, and it will probably come down to how much training they had. Like I said, it's suspect that there was you got a trainer with 1,000 hours and a trainee with 500 hours. That's just suspect. Now, I wish I could ask that guy. Maybe I will ask him he was a trainer. How many hours was he required to have before he could train other people?
Well, and again, I go back to another question. I get that there are military assets in Washington, D.C., or I should say the surrounding area. Okay, let's put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, why do you have an individual with only 500 hours, which is, it's not a lot.
It seems low. It seems really low.
It does seem low. It really does. Why do you have someone with that few flight hours on a Black Hawk and the instructor only has 1,000? Why do you have them over a major airport? I can understand it if you were doing it in broad daylight with a person with that few hours. Mm-hmm. That way they can again, and
and they're flying by instrument, so they're not looking out the window. They're flying by instrument. Even a commercial pilot flies by instrument.
But in broad daylight, even if you're doing all the other things Mr. McEarthrin is mentioning, and again, I don't say he's wrong, but even if you're looking at doing all that, if you're in broad daylight, it's easier until this pilot gets so acclimated with everything they're seeing, hearing, everything they have to do, that it makes it easier. Now, again, is there going to be a day when they do a flight in the dark over a major airport? Yeah, probably. But at least, and again, we don't know this pilot's prior training, so I'm taking that with a certain grain of salt. But even then, you could understand do it. Why is this person with what seems like so few hours? Why is this person flying this kind of a mission in the dead of night over a major airport near Washington, D.C.? WWG1 says helicopter was not flying by instruments. He was using VFR rules. Okay, what is VFR? What is that? WWG1, if you could spell that out for me, I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Like I said, I have no experience in aeronautics, and I may be just talking out my butt, but it just seems low. I agree with you. I do agree that you need to train people in the environment in which they will be flying actively. So I get that, but I'm like you. Maybe it should have been during the day. Maybe it should have been during a less busy time. Maybe it should have been, at a lower volume airport where they're, instead of. It just seems that there was now a lot of people are now trashing Trump because he came out and said that DEI probably had something to do with it. And that common sense will tell you. A lot of people saying, he's going to say that the pilot was black or something or Mexican or gay. That has nothing. I don't care what color or gender they were. They only had 500 hours of flight time. Yeah. So that's the major. But what does DEI have to do with it? DEI could play into this. Recruiting is so far down in the military.
Yeah.
We know this.
Yeah.
And this is, an offshoot, everything that happens from now until like September is probably still retroactively happening from the Biden administration in a lot of areas.
Yep.
So this is a result of probably being short-staffed, maybe having to put somebody into advanced training that you normally wouldn't put them into advanced training if you had enough people to staff the jobs. So you can say that, yes, DEI and gender ideology and all that probably has something to do with this if you really boil it down to the fact that, they're letting people, as an obese woman, they're letting people that are obese be firemen and police officers firefighters and police officers. We see that in LA.
Oh yeah.
My fat ass has no business being a firefighter or a police officer until I lose about 100 pounds. And I'm in the process of, I've lost down from 400. I'm in the mid 200s now, but I'm in no shape to be doing military, police, or fire right now.
Yep. Yeah.
And I don't understand, if you can't carry a 200 or 250 pound person out of a fire, you have no business being a firefighter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And WWG1 says VFR stands for Visual Flight Rules. I am a pilot. Okay, so WWG1, let me ask you this question since we're still on this topic. Under Visual Flight Rules, what would have been the pilot of the Black Hawk? What would have been their responsibility? What would have been the responsibility of the pilot for the American Eagle flight? Because, I mean, to me, and again, if I'm wrong about this, you out in the audience, set me straight, okay? To me, I don't fault the pilot for American Eagle. They're on descent into Reagan. I don't fault the tower. I don't fault the traffic controllers. I don't fault the FAA. To me, absent knowing anything else, to me, at this point, this seems to me like this one's on, the crew, or particularly the pilot of the Black Hawk. So, I mean, what is everybody's responsibilities in this situation?
Yeah, and bear in mind, they're most likely, from what they're saying, the person was a trainee. So what is their responsibility versus what's the trainer's responsibility? That's kind of what we're trying to get the bottom of from a pilot's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm very curious to know. Yeah. And again, I think the gentleman that we read his tweet was right. Yes, let's see. So WWG1 says, hang on. The airplane was under. I gotta put glasses on. Hang on a second. The airplane was under IFR instrument. Okay, instrument flight rules. Using instruments. Helicopter was under visual flight rules. Helicopter needed to see and avoid. Okay. All right. Okay. Then that starts. Okay. That's kind of backing up. That's kind of backing up our initial suspicion here, and
that they were just following their flight plan, listening to the tower, and the airplane was just coming in, and maybe this helicopter, they were spending too much time looking at their instruments and not looking out the window.
Oh yeah, this is bad. This is just on so many levels. I mean, look, we've got. I mean, and again, I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm not trying to be calloused about it. We've got 60 people dead.
Yeah.
I mean, just gone like that. And yeah, and in one sense, and I'm not, for Sean Duffy, who's now the newly installed Secretary of Transportation, and Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, and again, these are big boys. They knew what they were signing up for. Mm-hmm. But to just be on the job the few number of days they have been, and they got to deal with this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to minimize anything else, but there's a lot of people who feel very sorry for in this. And for those guys, they got to deal with this straight out of the chute. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
There'll be thorough investigations. I think with this current administration, we're going to get very, very thorough investigation of this. And I feel good that we'll actually get the correct, reasoning for it and what happened.
Yeah, and speaking of, the Trump administration has already taken a couple of steps already. He just named today Chris Richelieu as acting director of the Federal Aviation Administration, and he has also ordered an investigation, signed a presidential memorandum ordering immediate assessment of aviation safety and undue influence due to corrosive DEI policy. So Trump's already making some moves in that regard. So we'll see how all that turns out. A lot of people are upset about, why are you talking about DEI? Why are you talking about DEI? Well, I got a clip here that might cause people to maybe pull back on that one a little bit. This is the former FAA administrator, Brad Mims, or I should say the deputy administrator. And he has some comments to make, and maybe this is worth listening to. So with that, check it out.
Hi, I'm Brad Mims, Deputy Administrator at the Federal Aviation Administration. We are looking for the best and brightest to join us as air traffic controllers. We need a diverse group of air traffic controllers to bring distinct perspectives to handle the ever-changing aerospace landscape. I'm calling on students and alumni from HBCUs, Hispanic serving institutions, and tribal colleges to apply now to become air traffic controllers. I don't want anyone interested to miss out on this amazing career opportunity. Make sure you complete your full application during our application window. The short application window ends on May 8th. We need a diverse next generation air traffic workforce with people from all backgrounds. So apply now.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't have an issue. Let me say something. I've never had an issue with them reaching out to historically Black colleges, historically
Agreed.
Latino colleges, tribal colleges, because sometimes those people, and I'm going to sound like a flaming liberal here, are somewhat underserved as far as companies going to them to recruit. Now, that does not mean that they shouldn't have the fortitude to go out and apply for the jobs they want if they're qualified. That's two separate issues. You know, my little university, I went to a little private Baptist college. My college was underserved. It's the fact we didn't get a whole lot of corporate recruiters coming there, a whole lot of government recruiters coming there. Does that make sense? So we would have been the exact same boat as one of these tribal colleges. I think historically Black colleges get pretty well served, but I have no problem with them making an effort to reach out to those colleges and say, hey, we're the FFA. We're recruiting. We need good air traffic controllers. We Department of Defense. We need flight marshals. I think flight marshals might be FFA, but you know what we mean. We need air marshals. We need. If you're qualified, why don't you come on and apply and let's go through the process and see what we can do. I have no problem with that. But what I do have problem with is them discriminating against somebody that is highly qualified for the job and giving it to somebody that's less qualified because of an enumerable asset, such as they're female, they're Black, they're Latino, they're Native American, they're gay. Gay is not immutable, but you know what I mean. That's what I have a problem with. There's a difference between reaching out and telling somebody the opportunity is there if they are qualified, come on and apply, than hiring them just because they're underserved. Did any of that make sense? Because I feel like I was.
It did. I mean, look. I mean, when he started that 1 minute video, I was fine. It's like, we are looking for the best and the brightest to join the FAA. I'm like, okay, cool. And then throughout this 1 minute, it's like, we need diversity. We need diverse.
Yeah, that's where I have a problem with. Instead of casting a wide net to find the most qualified people, which is fine, now you're talking about diversity, and I have a problem with that.
Well,
I don't care what color, what gender, what sexual orientation. If they're the best pilot, if they're the best air traffic controller, that's who I want on the job.
And apparently this has been a problem with the FAA for some time now. TBA just sent me a clip through Rumble chat. And thank you very much for this, TBA. I want to play this. Apparently the FAA has been sued over this sort of thing. You guys, I think you're going to want to see this. So do me a favor and check this out.
Representing Mountain State's legal foundation as part of a class action on behalf of 900 plus would-be air traffic controllers. And so we brought this suit based on the FAA's change in its hiring practices. So it used to be that they would score a pre-employment test and it would be based on merit. And all of our clients passed with flying colors. Many of them passed with 100% on this test. And the FAA decided that the pool of air traffic controller applicants was too white. And so they flushed that initial test and they adopted a biographical assessment, which you can already hear as an ominous term for a air traffic controller test. And unfortunately, our clients didn't pass that. And we allege that the FAA changed the test in order to gerrymander the racial.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, lowering the standards. Gerrymandering is where you reorganize. If you're not familiar with this, where they reorganize voting districts based on certain lines and can actually alter the demographic of a certain area to get the result that's wanted. And that's gerrymandering standards means you're lowering or altering standards to allow more people that might otherwise be not qualified to qualify.
Yep. Absolutely. Very, very true. TBA says gerrymandering the racial pool of applicants, DEI on steroids. And K1 is like long short. They're prioritizing diversity. You got it, boys.
And that's how you get these videos of obese police officers, male and female, of all races, that are getting smoked by perpetrators that are running way ahead of them and they can't catch them. That's where you get these videos. And we've all seen them because they're having to hire whoever they can because no one wants to be a police officer anymore. I wonder why.
Gee, police officers getting clubbed over the head in New York City, shot at, stabbed, and
sued or fired, thrown in jail for defending themselves.
Yeah. I mean, and you have administrations in various municipalities that will not back them up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why would you want to go into the police force? Absolutely crazy. So yeah, there's a long way to go on this one, but this is not looking good on so many levels.
Yeah. I'm thinking there was mistakes made in the helicopter, probably lack of training, probably lack of training, lack of experience, and probably reverts back to maybe not the right person being in the cockpit of the helicopter.
Yeah.
Because they're not able to recruit enough.
Yep, absolutely. And
that's the reason, y'all, that we haven't had an actual draft since World War II and Vietnam, is because we've had enough people volunteering to serve in our armed forces that we didn't have to resort to a constant draft or didn't have to require military service like a lot of countries with smaller populations. But now recruitment has fallen way before replacement level. So our military, as far as people, is shrinking because we can't recruit enough people because of all this DEI bullshit and gender ideology bullshit. It's made the military, and plus the fact you're called a Nazi if you're patriotic here lately, in the last 4 years. So there's lots of different reasons.
Yep. And I want to pop this one up here from Gypsy Muse. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So yeah, it's bad, man. It is absolutely bad. Absolutely bad.
And Quan, I am reserving judgment. We still don't know what caused it. I'm just saying that everything seems to point towards the helicopter.
Yeah.
But we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. So, all right, what else you got on this one, my dear?
That's pretty much it. I found that one right before we came on. It just dropped. So I was like, when I saw that the small number of hours that the pilot of that helicopter had, I had to bring it up.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you did, because I mean, we here on the Electronic Front Porch, or I should say the Thursday night newsroom, we will always try to bring you guys information as we get our hands on it. And again, you guys make the determination about what you think it means. We're just going to put it out here and say, hey, we found this. This is what we think. You tell us what you guys think. So yeah, anytime that we can find something to bring it to your attention, or you find something to bring it to our attention, always appreciate it. So with that, we're going to do a real quick commercial since we're about almost 50 minutes in. So if you have happened upon this live stream and you're sitting here going, my God, would you look at these two absolutely amazingly good looking people? Who the heck are they, and what the heck are they all about? Well, she's better looking than I am. So that is Tracy Barkley from GenX Marks the Spot. I am Brian Trippett, the Front Porch Conservative. You can find both of us on YouTube. I also have a channel on Rumble. We're both on Twitter, and we are out there just doing our thing. So if you would not mind, please subscribe to this good lady's channel. She's trying to grow that thing. And by the way, hers is not just strictly politics, movies, true crime, all kinds of fun stuff, comedy in some cases. So no, WG1, we are not straight out of Central Casting. I don't know about that, but she might be. I'm not. But anyway, I thought you meant comedy casting. I'm like, what? Anyway, so yes, subscribe to our channels. Follow us on Twitter. We would greatly appreciate that. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on Uh, we're go-
There's a
we're gonna get.
shocking lack of diversity.
Well, what can I say? What can I tell you? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic of the evening. And we're going to start it out with a meme, which is going to lead into some clips about from the confirmation hearing of Mr. Kash Patel as the next director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. So the meme goes a little something like this. This is a prize that you could get at the carnival. These are the FBI agents using it incorrectly. Just saying. Now, hopefully the next director of the FBI will prevent agents from doing that sort of thing because, we'd hate to see, the FBI tied up in a Chinese puzzle trap as opposed to being out there protecting us from bad evildoers and fighting crime and solving cases. And let's just be honest about it. Kash Patel has been the one, I shouldn't say the one, there's a whole bunch of controversial nominees. Not controversial for us, mind you, but controversial to the Washington establishment. But you can make an argument that the three that testified today, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard before the Senate Intelligence Committee, and Robert Kennedy, who's now been before two Senate committees, the Finance Committee and the Health and Human Services Committee today, these three are the truly hot buttons. And Kash Patel did not hold back. He let everybody have it. And I've got some clips to give you an idea of just how good this guy could be. This first one is an exchange with Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat of Illinois, who's the ranking minority member on the Judiciary Committee. And much has been made about Kash Patel's statements as it relates to January 6th and what his thoughts were on the whole thing. Well, as you all may be aware, in December, there was a report that came out from the Inspector General of the FBI stating that there were no field agents in the crowd that day on January 6th. Now, most of us are sitting there going, we took a coughing spell for some reason. However, Kash Patel had some opinions about that, and Senator Durbin wanted to try to call him on the carpet for it.
And the Patriot Front's just private citizens too, Brian.
Yeah,
All
that
private
Patriot.
Citizens, all private citizens that shop at the same store. Absolutely.
That's right. So here is the exchange between the senior senator from Illinois and FBI Director Designee Kash Patel.
Well, let me inform you then. What it says is it raises an interrogatory asking why government resources were utilized. I've run resources and sources at the FBI. I've run sources overseas. It takes months for source developmental
What
networks.
resources were utilized a year in advance of planning?
That's fair. So what resources were utilized in advance in planning J6? Here is Patel's answer.
That's the question I'm asking, and the Biden Inspector General report answered that question in the affirmative, that multiple sources were utilized, and I was simply trying to get to that answer.
What the Inspector General came back with was, quote, there is no evidence that the FBI had undercover employees in the various protest crowds or at the Capitol on January 6th.
And there is
no evidence.
There's a huge distinction between undercover employees and sources. I know because I ran them. And anybody in law enforcement knows that too.
Now, this to me says a lot of things. Number one, Kash Patel's not going to take any crap. Okay. And he has a valid point. Technically speaking, the Inspector General's report may be right in that, okay, there may have been no undercover agents of the FBI in the crowd that day on January 6th. But that's not the total question. It's not an issue were there undercover agents, because you know what official Washington's going to do, folks. They're going to say, oh, see, nothing to see here. All you conspiracy theorists out there, you just mind your manners, your P's and Q's, because there were no undercover agents. Nobody did anything wrong, and you guys are just flat wrong. You need to sit down and mind your P's and Q's. Technically, that may be true. But that doesn't mean the FBI didn't have assets in the field. And WWG1 brings up a valid point. They're called human sources or human assets. And yeah, this first exchange, it kind of went downhill from there. So Tracy, if you got your thoughts on it, jump on in.
I mean, the fact they're even harassing Cash over that is just to me, it's insulting, because he was a member of the government. He was a member of the current administration when that happened.
Yep.
And don't you think that he would want to save face if that he wouldn't go along with it if he didn't want to protect the integrity of that certain administration? Because that was still when January 6th happened, it was still technically the Trump administration, right? Don't you think he would save face? Doesn't it even point out that he's a very honest person, that he's willing to criticize his own administration that allowed that to happen? And what they're really concerned about is that he is shining a light on the corruption and essentially the deep state. I hate to use that term, but he's shining a light right on the deep state and how they make their own rules and do their own thing. And that's what is so concerning to a lot of these senators. And when we get to RFK, it's even then, the fact that the people that were interviewing RFK on the committees all take money from pharmaceutical companies. That is just glaring in your face. These people are so corrupt.
Oh, I know. Well,
they don't want you to realize that for the most part, January 6th was a protest with some bad actors. Some of them fed plants that agged the crowd on and got it to look as bad. Even though it wasn't bad, they got it to be as bad as it was. Because the
Capitol Police were firing into the crowd. They were firing tear gas and bean bags, etc. And Gypsy brought up a real good point. Booker was trying to get Kash Patel to violate an agreement that he had not to testify about certain matters. And if he had violated that agreement, it not only would have disqualified him from probably being the FBI director, would have wound up in jail. So, I mean, these guys have no... And when I say guys, I don't mean just Democrats here, okay? Let's be honest. There are Republicans that do not want Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Scott Besson, a treasurer, Russ Vogt at OMB. They don't want these guys to get their hands on the levers of power in government because the potential's there. Go ahead.
The reason that so many of them have been confirmed, and I think they'll all eventually be confirmed, is because the American people, what Trump has done is shine a light on the corruption that's there. And the American people aren't going to take it anymore. And they realize that if they don't vote yes, that a lot of these people are going to be primaried. They know that in their next election. They may even be like recalled and primaried immediately. Scott Pressler has already said that he's going to personally dedicate his time to primarying anybody that votes against, any Republican that votes against either RFK, Tulsi, or Kash.
Yeah, and you got Nicole Shanahan out there herself, a billionaire, who has said, "Hey, Warnock,
pay for the prime. She'll fund the
Warnock,
campaigns."
Warnock, Azoff, both of you guys are from Georgia, which Azoff is up next year. Mm-hmm. She's already said, I will raise the money and I will have your butts primaried. And Bill Cassidy of Louisiana is in the same boat. These guys are scared to death, and legitimately so. They do not want to get on the... And the thing is, from a political standpoint, it's not just MAGA. They're going against, Make America Healthy Again crowd, the moms around America who want to see their kids healthier and safer. They're going against,
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the margins on some of the appointees, a lot of Democrats are voting with the Republicans to confirm them because they are probably in states that there was a huge shift to the right. So they know unless they step in line with what their people want, they're going to be gone.
Exactly. I mean, and I've said before and I'll say it again, I can believe it because the Republicans are just that stupid. in one sense, I can't believe it because it's like you guys are playing with fire. You have a political coalition that if you do this right, you guys are set up probably for the next 10, maybe 20 years, okay,
Right.
of ruling DC and the things you could get done. But your hatred of Donald Trump and your pettiness to control your little fiefdom is such that you're going to blow it for everybody. So,
and that's what I don't understand. People, okay, I know it's House of Representatives doesn't really matter, but people like AOC, as much as I don't care for AOC, she does care at the core for her people. I really believe that. So why can't she take the Trump derangement glasses off enough to see that she should be working with the majority of what Trump does? Because Trump is trying to work for the people. The Make America Great Again, Make America Healthy Again coalition is beyond party lines, is beyond racial lines, is beyond orientation lines. She should be working with these people. Instead, she can't take her Trump derangement off enough to see that. And it's sad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Murkowski, Collins, McConnell.
They're all Democrat. I don't even. The only reason Murkowski is there is because of ranked choice voting. That needs to go in Alaska.
Well, the good news is the people of Alaska voted it out by constitutional amendment. It's gone. She has to do straight up vote for vote in the next primary she runs in.
Majority
and I know a young lady. Yep. I know a young lady up there, Kelly Tibashi, who took her on 6 years ago. She would make a fabulous senator from Alaska. And if it weren't for ranked choice voting, that girl would be the senator today because Murkowski cannot survive a Republican primary up there. Nobody can stand her. And that's not just me saying that.
Tammy Duckworth barely survived. Barely this time.
Yep.
You know, she hadn't really heard her rattling her chain much.
No. So we've got a few more clips, and this next one is probably one of the best statements I've ever seen somebody make at a nomination hearing outside of Clarence Thomas and the electronic lynching speech from 91. This is an exchange between Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota, and Kash Patel, and it's Kash Patel's statement at the end that makes this one so good. So with that, check it out.
Be shut down.
Mr. Chair.
I deserve an answer to that question.
Yep.
Is asking to be head of the FBI, and he said that their headquarters should be shut down.
Mr. Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
You got anything you want to say, Mr. Patel, before I go on to Senator Lee?
Simply this. If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. I stood with them here in this country. In every theater of war we have, I was on the ground in service of this nation. And any accusations leveled against me that I would somehow put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you reminded that I have been endorsed by over 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI. Let's ask them.
Oh, that's great. That is just so great. I don't know about anybody else, but it's like, yep, this is why I want this guy as the director of the FBI. That's all I need to see right there.
Mr. Chairman, I am quoting his own.
Yep. Go ahead.
There's another clip where you got 2 minutes, which was just, and then where I forget who was questioning. Might have been Durbin or Morin. About trying to make him look at the FBI law enforcement behind him. And
I've got it.
Around and look at him.
I've got it's Adam Schiff. I've got the very clip you're talking about. And Schiff did not do himself any favors in this. We've got that clip.
He moved from House to Senate this time, correct? Was that the big move?
Tragically, yes. The people of California like apparently to upgrade their stupidity. So,
and Tom McDonald, if you are listening to this or somebody that knows Tom McDonald, you need to tell him to come out with a song called 2 Minutes.
Oh Lord, that would be funny. That would be funny. We've got the clip here that Tracy is referring to. This is an exchange between Kash Patel and the junior senator from California, Adam Pencilneck Schiff. So check it out.
You're being considered for director of the FBI. And here you did no diligence to find out whether people you were associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI? I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these men and women, as you know,
you
my entire
glorified
life,
it in song,
and I did
Mr.
not make
Patel.
a single dime out of
In
it.
song. Well, let me.
How about you ask them if I have their backs, and let's see about that.
Let me ask you this, Mr.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
this is great. This is one thing that I love about this generation of people coming up now. They're not taking the Democrat or progressive narrative and just, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, I said things in the past. No, they're like, yeah, I said it. Now, what do you want to do about it? They're just absolutely getting in the grill, and I think it's great. I really do. You know,
Totally do. I so much agree with you that this is the pivot presidency. We're going to see the end of the boomers and the beginning of millennials and some Gen Xers and some Gen Zers start to take it over. And there's some wonderful, wonderful young people. I mean,
yeah.
Don't you as a Gen Xer, Brian, feel a little upset, except for a select few, that the baby boomers, and I love my baby boomers, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That they did not give up power our entire lifetime, and so Gen X was not able to get into politics, like
not until
unless
now.
Until now. And so we've got people in our 50s and 60s now as Gen Xers that are getting into politics, and now you've even got millennials that are now in their 40s that are finally able to break into politics because the generation that has been there is not being able to jump, is finally able to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Gen X is so cringe. Up yours, buddy.
K1, we love you, but we disagree with you. That's okay, but that's okay. You're still welcome here.
Who are you? Are you a boomer? Are you a millennial? Are you Gen Z?
Yeah, what are you, my friend? I mean, yeah, my mom is silent generation. She was born 37. Okay.
My parents were silent generation too. That's an entirely different breed of human being.
Whole different breed of human beings. And you know, they were on the tail end on the tail end of the Depression, and yeah, they were still influenced by it. You know, oh yeah. This needs to come out. This absolutely needs to come out about Mr. Shifty Schiff's associations with a friend, Mr. Edward Buck. But that's a whole other conversation for another. Oh,
Adam Schiff just looks like he enjoys pegging.
Oh, he's dirty. He's dirty. Yeah. And WWG1 says you may want to have Dr. Robin McCutcheon back on in the near future. Oh, yeah. I need to have the doc back on here for a discussion on economic and monetary policy in the new era of Trump. I definitely need to get her back on here. So, yes, WWG1, I see that hand out there, my brother. So, now there were.
WWG1, I don't know you all that much, but I love you, brother. You're always so cool on here. I don't have my Rumble screen up, so I never see your comments, but they're always delightful.
Now, there were a couple of humorous exchanges in the Judiciary Committee today. Compliments of Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. And, you know, I wonder sometimes how effective a senator he is, but if nothing else, he is effective at bringing the humor. And I've got to play both of these because these are just great.
Kennedy is like the funniest looking dude in the world, but he is just delightful. I mean, I'm sure he's got his own picadillos, but he's just a delightful to listen to.
Oh, absolutely. Now, this first exchange is just great. This is during his direct question and answer session with Kash Patel. And I think you guys are going to get quite the kick out of this. So, hey, Smokey, you ready over there? All right. Roll it, dude.
If you're not ticking off some people, you're not doing your job right.
My colleague and friend, Senator Durbin, called you a conspiracy theorist. You remember that?
I do, Senator.
You were instrumental in revealing that the Trump-Russia election collusion hoax was a hoax, weren't you?
Yes, sir. I was a lead investigator.
Sounds to me like we need to get some new conspiracy theories because all the old ones turned out to be true.
Facts matter, Senator.
Yeah. I mean, conspiracy theorists are up something like 37-0.
Okay, no. Okay. Senator Kennedy did not smoke a blunt, nor did he put on sunglasses after that comment. But you kind of got to wonder, should he? Now, the other one, and this runs about a minute. Now, let me set this up.
Based.
Yeah, based is right. So Amy Klobuchar went off on her rant. Maddie, how you doing? Good to have you in the house.
And I agree. I watched Jerry Springer Ringmaster, the movie he did, is like one of my guilty pleasures, and I watched it the other night, and I'm thinking so much of what's going on reminds me of the confirmation hearings, and that is so sad.
Oh, I should have pulled this one up. I should have pulled it. Tom Tillis, and normally I don't think that man has much of a sense of humor, but Tom Tillis, the Republican from North Carolina, had a bingo card prepared showing. No, I'm serious about this. He had a bingo card prepared for his Democrat colleagues that had certain pet phrases like conspiracy theorist, J6, all the things you expect them to say. And he said, I'd be happy to pass this out to you guys over on the Democrat side. The first one you gets bingo, you kind of yell it out because, we want to make sure you get credit for it. But Tillis was having fun. But this exchange, so Amy Klobuchar takes an extra 3 minutes of her allotted time. Okay. And finally, wait a minute. WWG1 just may be about to help us out here. Hang on a second. Let me look at what this is, because this may be the bingo card itself. Hang on, y'all. Give me 1 second here. Because come on.
I gotta step away for just half a second. I've got a
Go ahead.
elderly dog that has tripped over something. I got to get him up.
Go ahead. No big deal. Oh yes, folks. I think you will like this. Here's the bingo card. So we'll just sort of linger here while Tracy's on her way back. Yeah, this was the bingo card that Tom Tillis put together. And WWG1, thank you so much for this. This is great. So yeah, we've got all the various things that you could get credit for on the bingo card. You had things like QAnon, Steve Bannon, government gangsters, Deep State, Mar-a-Lago, pardons, Section 702, Carter Page, let's see, Jeffrey Clark, 2,000 Mules, FBI HQ Hoover. But yeah, geez. TBA says, I expected one of the Republican senators to shout out bingo within 5 minutes of the session. Absolutely. Well, I'll answer that question for you. Jeffrey Clark was a deputy attorney general during the first Trump administration. He was in the Justice Department, and he has been a close associate of the MAGA movement for a long time now. And he and Kash Patel are very old friends. They've done a lot of different events together over time. And yeah, somebody was half expecting some of the senators to bring up Kash Patel's association with former Deputy Attorney General Jeffrey Clark. But thank you, WWG1, for that. How's the doggo?
He's fine. He's, like I said, he's 17, and he has dementia, so he wanders a lot at night. And sometimes we have a little step off down into our living room, and he'll sometimes go in there and then can't get back up.
Oh, bless his heart. Well, okay, so to get back, so Amy Klobuchar takes 3 extra minutes. And finally, Charles Grassley, who's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, has to gavel her down. Okay, he's had enough. Now, watching Charles Grassley at 91 years old gavel down somebody is quite humorous, but it didn't just stop there. This exchange, in part, compliments of John Kennedy of Louisiana, is absolutely great. I think you guys are going to get the biggest kick out of this, so check it out.
Mr. Chairman.
Before we go to leave.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, what do you want?
I love this guy. Mr. Chairman, I'm unlike Senator Tillis. I mean, if we're going to start this, I want an extra 3 minutes.
Well,
now, my friend Senator Klobuchar went 3 minutes over.
So, here what you're saying is the chairman wasn't a very good chairman by not shutting her up. But I've gone through this before, and I think I know how to handle it. And
I think you're a star-spangled awesome chairman. I just want to say that for the record. But if you're going to let somebody over there go 3 minutes over, I want my extra 3 minutes.
Well, let's see if it's abused by anybody else before we make that decision.
I'm just telling you, I'm going to abuse it.
Well, I'm not going to let you abuse it.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to abuse it. Well, I'm not going to let you.
It's funny and all, and it's entertaining. It's nice to see that they're real people. But sometimes I just get so mad that it's like Rhonda said, it's tax-funded theatrics.
Oh, I agree. I mean, look, here's where I think we're at. For all the huffing and puffing that the Democrats are doing, I think Kash Patel is going to come out of the Judiciary Committee with approval. He'll go to the Senate floor. He will be confirmed. I will be shocked if he's not. Now, don't get me wrong.
I think RFK has the votes too. I really do.
Yeah.
The only one I'm concerned about is Tulsi.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think Trump can strong arm a few people if he has to.
I think you're absolutely right. And dear, your camera's frozen up, just to let you know. I can hear the audio, but I can't see anything else.
Okay, I may have to log out and come back. Give me a second.
Okay, that's fine. You just let me know. We'll be here doing our thing. Okay. So she's logging out. So yeah, I mean, personally, here's where I'm at. I think for all the huffing and puffing the Democrats are doing, Kash Patel is going to be fine. And I want to see him get in there with his deputy at the FBI and just turn those boys loose. So, oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I'll do you one better. I want one of two things. I want either an age limit put on. In other words, if you're older than this, you cannot serve. Or I want the repeal of the 17th Amendment so the state legislatures get to choose the senators. I'm done. I am done. You know, these clowns. I mean, look, I love Chuck Grassley. Chuck Grassley's 91 years old. Bless his heart. You know, it's just, okay, there you go, dear. All right, you're good. You're good.
Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. We just want to make sure we see your lovely face.
Something happened when I turned off my camera so I could get up. Didn't
That's
want
fine.
to say that I had a shirt on, but pajama bottoms.
Well, that's all right. We're not going to get into what's underneath what I'm wearing or not wearing below my waistline. So just never mind. Thank God the camera does not get any lower than this. That's all I'm saying. We'll just leave right there. We're not going to scare the children, but anyway. Oh no, I don't disagree with this, and I acknowledge that if an age maximum is put on, then you're going to have some people like Grassley who unfortunately would not be serving anymore. But something's got to give.
No, and even though he's old, Donald Trump is very, very, very qualified to be where he's at. More qualified than most, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm all for term. I think just term limits would term limits, and no one over 65 if this is your first time running, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, but to me,
if you're already in and you're over 65, okay, maybe you get your 2 terms, but then after that, no.
Well, or to me, the ultimate best solution: repeal the 17th Amendment. Let the state legislatures pick the senators again. Do you know what the average term was prior to the 17th Amendment? How long somebody served in the Senate? Less than 6 years.
Yeah.
Literally less than 6 years. Less than one full term.
They normally changed. They changed with the state administrations, which makes sense.
Yeah. And if the senator took a vote on something that the people didn't like, legislature recalled them faster than you can possibly imagine. The people had direct control. Could you imagine?
You know what?
Yeah.
I think it's great. I mean, you would still have some states like, the hard blue states where you would still get these hard blue nut jobs, but then there would be enough of the others to balance them out. You certainly wouldn't have a Lisa Murkowski serving for Alaska.
Yeah. Could you imagine if there were a Republican legislature in California and you had Adam Schiff out there taking,
and you might actually have a Republican in name.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm all for the idea of,
and then you still elected your representatives.
Yep. So the people would have
direct your House members, so it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Tracy, and we will move on to another topic. But Tracy, before we do, where can people find you on social media? What can they do to help and support your channel?
Definitely find me here on the YouTubes at GenX Marks the Spot. As Ryan's already said, I do true crime. I do some politics, but mostly I do pop culture, movies, that sort of thing. I do a lot of fantasy and lore from like A Song of Ice and Fire and things like that. And you can also find me on X at Tracy Barkley.
Yes. And you can find me on social media, on Rumble, on YouTube. On Rumble, I'm at The Front Porch Conservative. On YouTube, I'm at Talking on the Front Porch. You can find me on Twitter at The Front Porch C1. Please consider subscribing to both of our channels. Please consider helping us out in whatever ways possible. We would greatly appreciate it. So, Tracy, I will hand it back over to you. What do you want to talk about?
Well, really the only thing we can talk about is confirmations. I really did you happen to see, this is still related to, I believe, to Kash Patel, but did you happen to see the clip where our Tennessee's own Marsha Blackburn went native?
No, I did not. Do you have it? If you do, I'll pop it up there.
Well, I'm going to send it over to you.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right. Looking forward to it. I will wait. And your camera just froze up again, dear.
Now, Blackburn, yeah, she's crazier than a shithouse rat. But I always vote for her because she really does care about the people of Tennessee, and she's a bulldog.
You just unfroze. So, okay, here we go. I've got the clip. And let me get this thing set up. Oh, God. Oh, this is the clip. This is the one I think it is. Oh, God, yes. Yeah, Marsha went native for about 2 solid minutes. And, folks, this is so totally worth it. So, with that, do enjoy.
2 minutes.
Oh, it's worth every bit of it. So, here you go.
Their questions, and it has led me to one thing. Why are the Democrats so afraid of you?
I don't know, Senator. You'd have to ask them.
Well, I tell you what I think, and listening to their questions and your responses, which we appreciate, they know that you're going to go in and you're going to clean up that political cabal that has been over there for years. You are going to reposition the FBI to its core mission. You stated that earlier in this hearing, and there will be no more political persecutions and no more 2 tiers of justice. And they have liked having 2 tiers of justice. They have enjoyed it, and it has helped them. They think in their political mission, they've enjoyed targeting Catholics. They've enjoyed targeting parents. But the American people have said they want no more of that. And our colleagues know you're going to clean it up. I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier, I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records, and I ended up being blocked by Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this, and I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going
to...
Okay, now you begin to understand why certain parts of Washington are just absolutely scared to death.
Because they're the customers for for certain things. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. They there's a lot. Believe me, the one thing that I remember distinctly, and I will still comment on frequently about Donald Trump's first term, is how much of a light he shined on what was going on. People didn't realize, I mean, they knew it was bad, but people didn't realize just quite how bad it was.
Yep.
And, say what you want to about Trump, but, now he's kicking over rocks, and now he's got a bunch of rock kickers in there with him who don't only just want to kick over the rocks, they want to clean it up so you don't have this stuff potentially happen again. And I think that to me is just glorious. Absolutely glorious. Yeah.
And I don't know if you were able to hear because I froze up earlier, but Marsha Blackburn, she has her issues. She can be super crazy. She does very, very hard, like alt-right on a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily agree with because I'm still kind of in the middle. But I will always vote for her because she does do what she believes is best. She believes what she says. And she, just like you saw, she is a bulldog when fighting for the people of Tennessee. And that's the reason we love her here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't blame, you've got a good one with her. Haggerty's not too bad. I got no bones to pick with Haggerty. But yeah, when it comes to Marsha Blackburn, y'all got your hands on a good one down there. Yeah. You absolutely do.
Yeah. She's a class act.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So,
and she does not care for the gays. And as a gay person to say that, she still is a class act.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else have we got by way of confirmation news you want to talk about?
I just sent you over another clip. This is the infamous, one of the other very pivotal confirmation hearings was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in front of 2 committees, Finance and HHS, and his little exchange with our old buddy Bernie Sanders. There was actually 2 exchanges, This is the longer of the two, and I will find the other one as well. But let's just say Bernie kind of made a fool out of himself today.
All right. Well,
Bernie was going after RFK, basically trying to make him promise on two things. One was trying to make him make a proclamation that he would not sue the tech company. That he would not tech, but he would not sue the pharmaceutical companies. And he said, "I'm not going to say that." And then he challenged Bernie, which I think is his first clip, about how he and everybody else on the committee takes a lot of donations from Big Pharma. And Bernie tried to stay up and say, no, all of mine was from small-time donors, my supporters. And nope, he was able to show that Bernie, in his last presidential run, took almost took $1.5 million from pharmaceutical companies.
Well, we have the clip.
No.
Yeah, so we have the clip. And give me 1 second. We'll get this thing pulled up here. And yeah, I think this is the clip.
Hey, I didn't hear no bell. All right, that's right. Lift the jab. That's it. Mental right. See that bum in front of you.
Oh, wait a minute.
See right, and you do right. That Apollo won't know what hit him. You're gonna roll over him like a bulldozer. And I tell you.
Okay, all right. I think I got the wrong clip. That was done on purpose. My apologies. Yeah, I've got
that
the
was
clip.
good too. I was like, that's good too.
All right. Well, yeah, I found that earlier. I was like, oh God, we got to play that one. But yeah, we've got the clip that she is referring to. This thing runs about it's worth every bit of it, folks. So, you know, if you got popcorn, get ready to enjoy, because I think you're going to get quite the kick out of this one. This is the exchange. Look at that look on his face. My God. God bless it. That poor man. Anyway, here's the exchange between Bernie and RFK Jr.
So let me ask Mr. Kennedy again. If we want to make America healthy, will you assure the American people that you will fight to do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to every single American?
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no,
and protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would, no. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from work.
Okay, well, hold on before I will finish this. Now, Bernie, bless your heart, you very well know that money from those pharmaceutical executives, that stuff can be filtered through certain people. Come on now, Bernie. Who do you think you're fooling with that one?
No, Pfizer didn't give me anything, but the CEO of Pfizer did.
Yep, that's right. Or his vice president, his or her vice president.
Or his assistant.
Exactly. So, yeah. Which workers, what industry? Yeah. Give it up, buddy. We're not buying it. But anyway, back to this clip.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate tax.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from work.
Look at that look on his face. He is exposed here, and he knows it. This is great.
Is in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question. You have not answered my question.
Mr. Chairman, we're 3 minutes.
How do we make America healthy if you don't guarantee health care?
We're literally 3 minutes over here now.
Well,
how long does it keep going? At some time, you're just battering the witness.
Not battering the witness.
Yes, you are.
Folks, I'm not funded.
We'll cut that off right there. But yeah, I mean, that was absolutely just, oh God, it's just, again, I applaud Trump's nominees. They're not taking crap. They're not sitting there cowering. They're throwing it right back in their faces. They're like, hey, what do you have to say about this for yourself? Yeah, Kash Patel, RFK Jr., Tulsi. I mean, it's just absolutely, these kids are rocking and rolling, and I love it.
And then what we're saying with what M16 is talking about down there, the onesie question. I have that clip. I just sent it over to you. The best part of that is if you can look behind RFK, you see both Cheryl Hines, but on the other side of Cheryl Hines is Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly is absolutely cracking up when Bernie asked him about the onesies. I mean, we're looking as a presentation of a baby's onesie, and he's trying to get him to admit that he sells those because it says unvaccinated. And he says, that's not my company. I'm not a part of that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, God. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about here. And this is just priceless. Hang on. Let me get this thing pulled up. Yeah, for folks who didn't see this, now Kennedy has a unique situation. He's testifying before two different committees. Yesterday was the Senate Finance Committee, and today was the Senate Health and Human Services Committee. As I understand it, the only committee with voting jurisdiction on this is the Finance Committee. In other words, how they report the nominee out is going to determine what happens on the Senate floor. Okay. The testimony today before the Health Committee was, at least as I understand it, is more or less pro forma courtesy. He doesn't have to do it, but he did. This yesterday was from the Senate Finance Committee, and Bernie tried to, how shall I put this? Bernie tried to make a point at RFK Jr.'s expense, and it kind of backfired on him because Bernie looked, and I'm sorry, Bernie looked absolutely absurd with this. This clip is about 8 seconds, but watch the reaction in the background of RFK Jr. because Tracy's right. Not only Cheryl Hines, RFK Jr.'s wife, but Megyn Kelly was there. And they're both just laughing hysterically at this. You've got to watch it. With that, here we go.
Right now, as I understand it, on their website, they are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. Right now, as I understand it, on their website, they are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies.
That one's, let me get the other one. There was two. I apologize.
Okay.
I sent you the wrong one.
All right. That's all right.
But that's what he was showing. He was showing picture of a onesie sold by some organization that RFK is no longer affiliated with.
Well, while you're sending that over, I've got one.
He believes in not vaccinating. RFK has never said that he's against vaccinations.
Yeah.
He said that he's against vaccinations being mandatory if they haven't been through the gold standard of testing. That is what he said.
Absolutely. Now, Jessica, you think they're goofy? I got one for you. While Tracy's sending that over, Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire. I mean, for all of the dumb that was in this committee hearing today that RFK Jr. was testifying before, this may be the dumbest comment of the day. And you're going to understand. Watch this.
Sometimes science is wrong. It makes it impossible for us to move forward. What?
Yeah, let me back that up just a little bit further because I think I got that a little wrong. Check this out.
Science. Sometimes science is wrong. It makes it impossible for us to move forward. What?
Yeah. One more time. Let me do it this way. Here we go.
Continue to sow doubt about settled science. Sometimes science is wrong. It makes it impossible for us to move forward. What? What the fuck? Sometimes.
Sorry about that last one, folks. Yeah. It's like, she's like, okay, you talk. Oh, yeah. Let me.
You're trying to chastise saying RFK doesn't believe in established science, but then you turn around and say that sometimes science is wrong.
Yeah, here you go.
Duh.
Is wrong. And when you continue to sow doubt about settled science, sometimes science is wrong. It makes it impossible for us to move forward. What?
Yeah, that's what we're all saying. What? I mean,
sometimes science is wrong. Yes,
yeah,
it is. And that's why you should be skeptical.
Yes, which is exactly what RFK Jr. is doing. He's being skeptical of the science. Just unbelievable.
But what's he? But let's break it down. What's he being skeptical of? Vaccines. The facts that vaccines since the 1960s have gone from about 8 vaccines that school children were required to have to now 40. 40. And he's established that the majority of these have not been through what he considers the gold standard of testing. So are these even necessary? Are they doing more harm than good? And the other bit of science that he's questioning is the current established food guidelines that maybe shoving us full of processed foods and seed oils hasn't been the best thing for us. And that maybe we should go back to more of a paleo, low carb lifestyle, eating only whole foods, and that maybe we should be subsidizing things like meat and vegetables and not grains. And you know what all of those things have in common? Grains, vaccines, they're all controlled by by 2 big mega industries, big pharma and big agriculture.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I agree with this statement right here. This is so true. Settled science is an idiotic contradiction. Well, I'm glad that Galileo didn't feel that way, or else we never would have figured out that the Earth revolves around the sun, not vice versa. You know, I mean,
most of the vaccines we have that are tried and true would never have been established if we'd accepted the established science of the day. The established science of the day was that smallpox had a death rate of 60%. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got that clip pulled up, the exchange between Bernie and RFK Jr. yesterday about the onesies. Folks, and again, watch the reaction in the background.
RFK.
Yeah, watch in the background, and I think you're going to see what we're talking about.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of these?
Now, there's Megyn Kelly right there where my pointer's at. She is putting her head down laughing at this man. Are you supportive of the onesies? Are you supportive of the onesies? Like they're a terrorist group or something. I mean, good God.
Little onesie jihadists.
Yeah, the little onesie jihadists.
And there's Cheryl Hines, I think, that's directly behind him, but you can't see it right now.
Here's some more of that.
This clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine.
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell. Are you supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing?
Everybody's cracking up
militantly anti-vaccine.
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell.
This is nuts. Is this the best the Democrats can do? I'm not trying. I am not trying to. Is this all they've got? This is crazy. Oh, Jessica had to block Bernie. Oh. It was so funny. He said something about the price of onesies too, like those printouts didn't cost. Oh God. You got a bunch of antiquated, and not to say the Republicans don't have the same problem. You got a bunch of antiquated, insulated, isolated politicians who, just WWG went over on Rumble says, "Are you supportive of this jockstrap? Tell me now." Oh my God.
And stand up and put your hand down your pants. Are you supportive of this?
Woo, it's getting racy. Woo, baby.
And you know what? If I had a child, like a baby right now, I'd be a little skeptical about what vaccines to get them, to have them have. I mean, I'd be talking with my doctor now. Let's stick with the old standards, doctor. Let's give them the MMR. Let's give them smallpox. Let's give them all the ones that you and I grew up with. But why do they need hepatitis? Why do they need, chicken pox? Isn't it a rite of passage that a child has chicken pox? I know that may sound cruel and awful, But why do they need all this extra stuff that, that hasn't been through proper testing? Why?
And how do we know? How do we know that these vaccines, in combination of each other,
aren't causing problems?
Exactly. And why does official Washington stick its head in the sand? I don't want no. You can't say that. Why not? Why not? Why can we not even just ask this question?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know why. You got a pharmaceutical industry that would much rather keep on making the money, making the money than actually like changing their ways.
Mommy does say something. I know that the standards for what we consider autistic have changed, and now it envelops a lot more than it used to. And so that's the reasons one reason we've seen so many more autistic diagnoses. I get it. But the fact that the standard slate of vaccines for a school child has gone, like I said, from less than 10 now to over 40, don't you think that at least warrants some investigation? I don't think there's been
discussion at a minimum.
One study to even research that question. It's a valid question.
Yeah. No, it's completely valid. And why we're not willing to face this, well, I rephrase that. Why a certain segment of the population is not willing to face that head on, I think says more about their closed-mindedness. I mean, that's the irony in this. The people on the right are accused of being closed-minded and bigoted and not wanting to learn anything, and they don't want to accept science, etc. But when they challenge the science and they ask questions and they want to know, they get shut down. No, you have to believe this. You have to accept this. Wait a minute. Who's being closed-minded and intolerant now? We aren't. We're just asking questions. You don't want to let us find the answers to them. If we're wrong, fine, we're wrong. Okay? We'll admit that we're wrong. Bobby Kennedy said that even today. He's like, look, if it turns out that I have said something that is incorrect on the basis of a whole bunch of studies, I will not only say I was wrong, I will apologize to anybody for previous statements. Mm-hmm. To me, that's gold standard. That's right. That's a man who lives by his word. If you're willing to man up and say, you know what, I was wrong. Okay. I may question your motivation for doing it. In Kennedy's case, I'm willing to give him benefit of the doubt. But this whole thing about we can't have that discussion. Why can't we? These are our kids that, you're putting on the line here. We have the right. I mean, I'm not even a parent, okay? But, I've got family members who are now parents themselves. Should they not have the right to ask these questions? I mean, look, if they make the decision for their child, I want them to have X number of immunizations. Fine. I will assume, and I don't even have to assume, I know, they will have done their due research, their due diligence for their kids.
Mm-hmm. And it's important because, like Porch Mommy said, you can't get the vaccine back out of your body once you've had it.
Yep. I had measles, mumps, rubella. That was it. That was all I was vaccinated against. Mm-hmm. Thank God they didn't have a vaccine for crazy, or else I wouldn't have wound up the way.
Well, I'll take us back to the AIDS epidemic. How long did the blood industry, the Red Cross, fight the opinion that hemophiliacs and others were getting AIDS from blood transfusions?
Yep.
They fought that because they did not want to have to spend the money to test for it, and they let thousands of people get infected with HIV from blood transfusions before they put some protocols in place. That took years. That took 10, 12 years before they would accept that fact. Yep. And we're supposed to just trust the medical industry without ever questioning it. Horseshit. And you know what gets me? Liberals, at least your classical liberals like myself, your 90s Democrats, in the 80s and 90s Democrats, they would be the first ones questioning this stuff.
Absolutely.
And they have gone so far off the reservation. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yep. Absolutely. So I mean, these hearings, I mean, you got any clips on Tulsi? Because I got one.
Which one do you have? I may have the same one.
The exchange with her
Both,
and Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona.
No, I have the one with her and Senator Moran. So I'll send that whenever you go ahead.
Send it
Go ahead and
over.
play yours, and then I'll send you this one.
Yeah, there were hearings all over the place today, and one of the most consequential ones. And don't get me wrong, I want Kash Patel in at FBI, but having Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence, where she can coordinate with Radcliffe at CIA and Kash Patel at FBI and Pam Bondi as the Attorney General, those four together could be amazing, depending on what they can do. But there's an exchange with Mark Kelly, and Tulsi Gabbard acquitted herself very, very well. And folks, check this one out.
My concern has to do with the tendency to repeat Russian and Syrian, and even in some cases, I think we'll get into in the closed session, Iranian information, and to discount what comes from our intelligence community.
Senator, every American deserves to know that people in our own government were providing support to our sworn enemy, Al Qaeda. That should not be acceptable by anyone.
My concern has to do.
Okay, that's the first clip. Yeah, she's taken no prisoners on this stuff. Absolutely no prisoners. There's another exchange here that she has with Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas, who's a Republican, by the way. And by the way, this vote in the Intelligence Committee of the Senate, which is saying that there's an Intelligence Committee in the Senate almost is like an oxymoron. But this vote in the Intelligence Committee is going to be tough. So I've got the clip from Moran. Just to give you an idea of how things were going, this runs about a minute, but it's worth every bit of it. Check it out, folks.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart, or in any policy recommendation you would make or not make.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation, our own security, and the interests of the American people. In carrying out the responsibilities of the Director of National Intelligence, if confirmed, no country, group, or individual will get a pass. In my fulfilling that responsibility of providing that full intelligence picture so that you all can make the best informed policy decisions for the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. You have my commitment to be completely objective, unbiased, and apolitical. And I hope you understand my commitment to our country's interest.
That's good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am so tired of being told by official Washington what you have to think, what you have to say, what you have to believe. You're not allowed to question anything. You're not allowed to point out the fact that it was the intelligence community that told us Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, and that was part of the basis of George W. Bush's decision to go into Iraq, got thousands of U.S. military members killed, hundreds of thousands injured or with PTSD for the rest of their lives. We're not allowed to question, you know, when the intelligence community came out and said, oh no, the Hunter Biden laptop, that's just Russian disinformation. 51 members of the intelligence community signed on to a letter saying, nope, it's Russian disinformation. We're not allowed to question our intelligence community when they give us, you know, purported fact after fact after fact. And we have to accept it because it's from the intelligence community. Oh my God, it's the intelligence community. No, it's about high time the intelligence community be questioned about what they are saying and how they're doing it. And they be held to account. And that's one of the things that scares everybody to death about Tulsi Gabbard.
Because she's just not going to accept it, and she's not going to let information be released to the public that's not true.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
For example, case in point, I know this is way off base, but case in point, you probably already covered this. The drones, the very first press conference that was done by
Caroline Leavitt.
She came right out and said that and said that they were FAA. Of course, the FFA has information that says that they were being tested for both military and civilian purposes, and that some of them were privately owned drones. And the Biden administration knew that and sat on the information and let the American people just go off all the way to left field about it.
Yep, absolutely. Just
all they would have had to say is that we're testing some stuff. That's all they would have had to say.
Yeah. If they do that, it just puts it to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would people still have asked questions? Yeah. Would
what
comments have been made?
Well, that's fine. The military tests stuff. We know that. That's fine. But that's all they had to say.
Yeah. And it's just unbelievable. No, let Tulsi Gabbard get in a DNI. Let Kash Patel get in an FBI. Let RFK Jr. get in at Health and Human Services and get his deputies around him at NIH and CDC, etc. I mean, why is it that we have to accept government by mediocrity? Because really, that's what the Democrats are defending here. I'm sorry. That's what they're defending. Well, you know, we really can't change it. It might suck, but we can't change it. You've done it this way, Democrats and Republicans now, for going on 30 or 40 years. You're running us right into the ground. We've got some bright, intelligent, commonsensical people that want to go in and try to make it better. But you have to defend the status quo because your power is dependent upon keeping the systems exactly as they are.
And your money.
And your money. Exactly.
Not only are you taking donations and stock tips from these companies, and not only are you taking donations for your campaigns, and I'm sure a lot of that gets funneled into your pocketbook too. Don't get me wrong. We're not a fool. That happens. And then you also get all these contacts so that when you decide that it's time to bail on your job as a civil servant, you can just go and work for some company because you have contacts within the government, which I think Trump ought to push for a bill that would have to be done in the legislature that bars former congresspeople or government insiders at a certain level from working for anybody that they were in a committee over for a period of like 10 years.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree because there's too much of a swinging door. It was too much of a swinging door, and it just on and on and on and on. It's crazy. And by the way, short term, the Democrats are doing themselves no favors here. I had this saved as its own separate topic, but since we're on this, Quinnipiac is, in my mind, one of the worst pollsters out there. They can't do anything right. But they ran a poll the other day asking Americans, who do you trust more?
This is a very left-leaning. This is a very
left-leaning, okay? To give you an idea of how bad it's going for the Democrats right now, check this out, okay? I will enlarge this just a hair. Quinnipiac, one of the most left-leaning pollsters out there, Republicans are viewed with some measure of neutrality, okay? Democrats are 26 points underwater right now. And most of this, I will argue, most of this has to do with how they're treating these nominees in these hearings. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Don't know about disingenuous. They are terrified of their secrets are getting out. That is absolutely true. That's another thing.
That's not what we weren't saying that it wasn't. We were saying that they're terrified of their gravy train, of their power. Yeah. And that means their secrets that they've been sitting on for years.
Yeah. For years.
All that is hand in hand. All that is hand in hand.
Yeah. And that's one. Yeah. I mean, I may not be speaking to that particular aspect, but I think you're absolutely right. They don't want the American people to find out the things that they've kept in the dark for so long now. Because if the American people start finding this out, 26 points underwater, the Democrats will be 50 points underwater by the time it's all said and done. And not just the Democrats either. How many things did Bill Barr, as the Republican Attorney General, how much crap did he know, didn't know, had his hands in? Had his hands on, had his hands off of, Jeffrey Epstein in prison, conveniently. I mean,
just not to rock the boat, just to keep the status quo.
Yeah, just to keep everything in place.
We've got to there needs to be a 100% turnover in Congress. There needs to be a 100% turnover, because I don't care how new you are. You know, I know I keep bringing up AOC, but it's only because she's fairly new when it comes to Washington, fairly new.
Yeah.
You can see how much she's changed just since she got in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's because they get caught up in the system and they have to maneuver within the system. It needs to be a 100% turnover, and we need to break the system. No money, no working for these big companies after you get out, especially if you were on their committee. There needs to be a way to break that cycle. If you want to serve the American people, you serve the American people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and yeah, I mean, turnover, term limits, something's got to give. These calcified old dinosaurs are, and don't get me wrong, I think with wisdom there is age. I'm not trying to say people who have been in Congress for a long time cannot necessarily be effective. But right now, you've got a whole system that is just calcifying. And in its calcification, it's stopping basic good reforms that ought to happen that just don't right now.
Yeah.
Why? Because the system is rigged to benefit those who are on the inside already. And
Exactly.
that's the problem. This government, yeah, well, okay. All right. Yeah, that's true. I will stay corrected on that point. That is true. You're absolutely right on that one, Gypsy. I did say that. You're right. They don't want to put someone in to make it better. They can't have that. If they do, everything they've built goes up in smoke. So, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but
And
yeah, I mean,
absolutely, I agree. It lasted a little while. I agree, but we need to bring that back, and it needs to stick. It needs to be a constitutional amendment. We need to go through that process with a constitutional convention, and 2/3 of the states needs to ratify that there needs to be term limits.
Yeah, absolutely. And
can't
that's
be an
probably
act of
one of those amendments. That's probably one of those amendments in the convention of states that would fly through without a bit of trouble. You know, without a bit of trouble at all. And frankly, we're not that far away from having a convention of the states, because it would only take a couple or three more legislatures to make that happen. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, dear. You're fighting that out. I mean, granted, right now Democrats run Colorado, but yeah, that sort of thing happens everywhere. Absolutely. Tim Pool. Ruben sent me something, and this is a little off topic, but not too far. Ruben sent me something about a week ago, and I'm really would love to do a video on it. Tim Pool has his business in West Virginia. He lives in West
ranting
Virginia.
about West Virginia. What the fuck does what is West Virginia doing? I thought they were pretty good.
I'll tell you what they did back in 2021, and this is totally when the Republicans were in control of the legislature. They passed a bill very similar to what California has, where the gig economy, in other words, you cannot be an independent contractor and do work for somebody. You got to basically be their employee.
Oh, so all these contract like video editors and personalities that he has,
yeah,
they're going to make him hire them as a W-2.
Yeah, and on top of that, West Virginia has an insane tax system, which I hate to admit this is still the case. When it comes to business personal property, like let's say, for example, that I had a business in West Virginia, okay, which I mean, full disclosure, I am my own independent thing. I have not set up a business for what I do in social media. I just, do basic 1099 work. Okay, fine. If I had a business, this chair I'm sitting in, I would have to assign a value to it so it could be taxed. Even though it's my own personal chair in my own personal house.
And you don't just use it for business.
And I don't just use it for business. I would have to assign a value to it so it could be taxed as business personal property. And Tim Pool is ready to leave West Virginia over this. And, and people in our legislature are reaching out to him and say, hey, what can we do to make this better? He's like, no. It's like, look, I don't want special treatment. And you know what? I respect Tim Pool completely for this position. He's like, I don't want you to make some kind of special exemption for me.
Yeah. He built a whole compound out there.
Yeah. And this, I recommend you all go out and look at the clip. It runs about, I think, like almost 20 minutes, but it's well worth it. I mean, Tim's very, very good at explaining.
Very articulate. Yeah.
Very articulate. But yeah, it's just what Republicans or Democrats at the local level, they start growing government and institutionalizing policies that just are not in the best interest of the people.
Well, old school conservative, I mean, even old school conservatives, they're not for small. They've never been for small government, so to speak.
No.
They're for limited government in a lot of ways, but not small. And there's a difference between limited and small. They've never They've never been against growing the government where they see it warranted, and it is just obvious. It's libertarians that are, definitely for small government.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So what else have we got in the way of the confirmation hearings?
That's really all I had. It was Tulsi, RFK, and and the cash, and that's pretty much all I had.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Since we're a little over, go ahead.
One thing that I did read: did Cash call out Nancy Pelosi saying that she called off the National Guard on January 6th, she had been told that they needed the National Guard for security risks, and she told them not to stand down on that? Did I read that?
I have not seen a clip from the Judiciary Committee hearing, but I would not be surprised at that at all. I would not be surprised in the slightest. WWG1 says, yes, he did hear that. So I don't have the clip for it, but yeah, apparently it happened in the committee. So good on him. Good on him.
Which leads me to believe that was all staged. January 6th, it was a peaceful protesting the way that you should protest to the government, and it was agged on and amped up, and they did everything they could to make it look bad to get Trump.
Yep. And I tell you what, since we're a little over 2 hours, hard stop. Absolutely, it was. We'll go and start bringing this train into the station. I got 2 little clips. And one of them I found today, as you know, Tracy and I both are fans of great movies and good actors. And today is Gene Hackman's 95th birthday. Yeah.
He's not 95.
Yeah, he's 95. Yeah. And he's still alive. Last I heard, he was living comfortably in Florida. Still in relatively good health for his age, which I say, good on him. And I found a clip from an appearance that he did years ago on Larry King's show when Larry King was still doing his thing over at CNN. And this is a throwback to a completely different era. And I want to take us out on this one. And then I got one more clip. No, I'll save that one. I'll save that one for brunch. But talk about a different era and a different time. Here's Gene Hackman. Some thoughts about Ronald Reagan.
But you loved President Reagan.
I did, yes. I'm a Democrat, but I also loved the idea of that man. He was so committed to America, a beautiful American.
Well, you never worked with him, right?
I didn't, but I met him, and it's funny, we have an occasion to meet a lot of famous people, being in this profession, and I was sitting outside the Oval Office thinking, well, I'll get this over with and go to lunch or whatever. When I got in the Oval Office, I was like, hey, this is really something. Yeah. I was very affected by it and by him.
It hits you.
Yeah, it does.
So happy birthday to the legendary Gene Hackman. And for those in the audience that are not really familiar with his films, let me tell you something. You're missing out. I mean, we could
go all Bonnie. He was the Bonnie and Clyde. He was Bonnie's Clyde's brother, and Bonnie and Clyde playing opposite Warren Beatty and
and Faye Dunaway. Yeah.
And he was the original Lex Luthor.
And don't forget Popeye Doyle from the French Connection.
Yep.
Hang on. Yeah, someone said Little Bill from Unforgiven. Great Clint Eastwood movie. Mississippi Burning with Willem Dafoe. Great film.
Excellent film.
Hoosiers. Best basketball movie ever made.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
anytime that you're in for a movie that'll just pump you up about real civil rights, real civil,
Yeah.
so check out Mississippi Burning, and then I also usually watch, Time to Kill with Matthew
Yep.
McConaughey. Absolutely
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. Crimson Tide, another great movie that he was in with Denzel Washington. God, there's just I'm trying. There's another movie in the 70s I'm trying to think of. Popeye Doyle, the Poseidon Adventure, the original Poseidon Adventure. Yeah, great film, star-studded cast for its era. And
hang on. I'm just gonna look at Gene Hackman's filmography. Give me a second here.
okay.
And I'll read off.
He was in Young Frankenstein in a comedic role. Oh God, that one was great. I mean, yeah, for those of you who are younger and you're like, Gene who? You need to take a Saturday night and binge watch a few of his movies. And if you need recommendations, you need to go to her channel because Tracy will absolutely give it to you.
All right.
Absolutely give it to you.
Let's see. Doctor's Wives, Scarecrow.
Yeah.
French Connection Part 2.
Yeah.
Lucky Lady, The Domino Principle, Bridge Too Far. That's probably one of them.
Bridge Too Far, another great movie.
Yep. Of course, he was Lex Luthor in Superman and Superman 2, the two best Superman films that have ever been produced.
Yep.
Let's see. Hoosiers, No Way Out.
Another great film.
Split Decision. Loose Cannons, Postcards from the Edge.
Yep.
He was in The Firm. I knew he'd been in
The
one
Firm.
with,
Oh
with
God, how
Tom
can I forget?
Cruise.
Yeah.
Geronimo, Wide Earth.
Enemy of the State.
Yep. The
Great
Birdcage. Oh my God, how could I forget he was in The Birdcage?
God. Jeez.
He played a snooty, stuck-up, conservative, religious Republican in that, and it was delightful.
Yep.
Enemy of the State.
Yep.
Yep. And he's been in a lot on television too. A lot.
The Conversation. That was one of his great early successful movies in the 70s. I mean, that man should have won a few more Academy Awards than he did. I mean, twice awarded that I remember for The French Connection, and then he won supporting actor for Unforgiven. He was nominated for Mississippi Burning and lost that year to his good friend Dustin Hoffman. And he's like, don't get me wrong. I mean, Dustin, he even said later, he's like, I was real happy that Dustin won. I was like, but man, did you have to take that one from me? Because he was amazing in Mississippi Burning. Absolutely amazing. You know. So yeah, I'll tell you what, folks, we're going to go ahead and bring it in to the train station. Tracy, where can people find you on social media? I see the gypsies out there putting your links in chats, but where can they find you? What can they do to help you? What can they do to help you out?
Here on YouTube at GenX Marks the Spot, and over on Twitter at Tracy Barkley.
And you can find me on Rumble at the Front Porch Conservative. You can find me on YouTube at Talking on the Front Porch, and you can find me on Twitter at the Front Porch C1. Tracy, hang on a minute. We'll say some proper goodbyes. Front Porch Brunch is being moved to Sunday morning. This Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. We're having a birthday party for my mom, and there's going to be all-day preparations for that. So please join me this Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. And as always, thank you very much. Tracy, hang on a second. We'll say some proper goodbyes. And with that, we'll crank up this wonderful new outro that Sean has made for us. You guys have a great night. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up with you later.